Hello and welcome back to Azure Terraformer. Today we are going to kind of expand on some of the topics that we've been going over for the last couple of episodes, which is related to connectivity and VM security. And we are going to take the next step and move beyond Bastion and set up Point-to-Site VPN between our workstation and an Azure network that we're going to set up. So without further ado, we'll get started. I'm going to again build on previous template, build on the template from previous episodes here. Get this thing going here. I think I can just bring the network over and bring my compute over. And we should still be using the same key vault secret for the key. We got a VM, it's in a subnet. We probably don't need the Azure Bastion subnet because we don't need the Bastion anymore. We're not going to be provisioning a Bastion, so I think we're good there. Yeah, this is named poorly, so this is our NSG. Our default NSG association. It's not for a specific rule. Okay, so let me get this network spun up. Let me change some things. I should probably, let's drop a local because this is like a recurring mistake. We'll just call this the name, and we'll call it EP6. And now I can change it in one place if I can spell local properly. And I don't have to keep making the same mistake where my OCD will prompt me to like delete the entire resource group and all that jazz, right? So this should make everybody's life easier if I just extract that into like a little name there. I think that's everything. Yeah. Okay. So let me go into my directory. Let me do a Terraform init. And then I think I'm just using random and Azure RM. Cool. So one of the things that we're going to be doing as kind of homework for this assignment, or for this episode, is we are going to have to do some things in Azure Active Directory in order to get all this stuff to work. So I'll share this link when I post this. The link will be in the comments of this video, description of the video. But this is an important page that kind of shows what you need to do as a global administrator. And so this step right here is going to be really important. We'll get into this in a little bit, but I just thought, I'd share that. Apply auto approve. Okay, so we're going to spin up the network. Now let's get the VPN going. So we are going to use a resource called, let's just look up gateway, okay? And it's the virtual network gateway, this resource right here. And they have a pretty nice example. Again, just like Bastion, we're gonna need a gateway subnet with a special name, a magic string that allows that subnet to be used. The VPN gateway, virtual network gateway, has to have a PIP, because if you think about it, your workstation, which is on the internet, is using the internet to connect to this virtual network gateway, and then then the configuration in here. So I'm just going to grab the pip and we'll call this the VPN pip. And we're going to get rid of all that jazz. It's kind of nice we can do this while we wait. So this should be pip and then local name, so that'll be EP6 and then VPN. But we also need to have kind of the random string in there. Ooh, I need to go to VPN. So this will be a pip for EP6 random string VPN. And min, that's a typo. Okay. So I think that should be good enough. So now we go back to here. This is where we're going to be doing a lot of changes. There's going to be a lot of surgery here, for sure. Okay, so we are going to just call this our VPN. Dyslexia strikes again. Get rid of the double quotes. Update these things to be main. Let's look up our abbreviation. Do not have that handy, do I? Smash. Virtual Network Gateway, VGW, all right? So it needs to be called a VGW, and we'll just go like this. And you know what? I'm gonna change my name here because I'm just gonna put for pips, I like to put the pip prefix in front of the name of the thing it's the pip for. So this string right here is actually the virtual network gateway's name. You can see on line 11. So I'm just gonna prefix that with pip and call it a day. And so, yeah, we want VPN, we want route-based, we don't want active-active, we don't want to enable BGP, we want a different SKU, I'm pretty sure. So what is that? It's called, yeah, it's just called SKU. Let's look at the SKU options. Now, unfortunately, these SKU options are not the best, right? What is a VPN GW1 versus a VPN GW2, GW3, GW4? There's a table, like if you Bing or Google that, which will tell you all those things, the pricing and the stats and all those wonderful things. So again, not the most descriptive like SKU, but anytime there's a magic string, you can look it up somehow, right? But I think what we want to go with is this VPN GW1, and we'll just slam that in there instead of basic. And the IP config, yeah, that's fine. The pip needs to change. I think I called that VPN. And then dynamic is fine. And then we need the gateway subnet. I'm gonna preemptively call this subnet gateway. Of course, I haven't created the gateway subnet yet. I keep going back to the wrong tab. I got too many tabs open. So I need to create a gateway subnet. So I'm gonna go grab that. I'm gonna smash that into my network here. Let's do the double quotes. We'll call this gateway. So the name of this subnet, Azure RM subnet object is gateway. This is a magic string. You can't change that. It's got to be. It is what it is. And the VNet is main. And we need to have its own namespace. I'm just gonna leave it in 0. Usually you wanna start your subnets off the 0 a little bit, just so that you can keep some of these system subnets in the higher order of the namespaces. So there's quite a few in there. Azure Firewall has a special namespace. VPN gateways have a special namespace. As we saw last episode, Bastion has a special namespace. So system or special namespaces are a thing in Azure, and as a result, like when you're planning your virtual network ranges, IP ranges, you're going to want to think about that, especially if you're OCD like me. If you jam your gateway subnet in at like a 17, it's going to feel like an afterthought, and everybody's going to know, and you're going to know, and every time you connect to that thing, you're just going to be like, oh, I'm such a bad planner. How could I do this to myself? Anyways, so I got my subnet. I got it named gateway. I think I got all these references right. I put it in 0 because we're not really doing a whole lot of stuff here. I got my gateway reference here. Here's the fun part. So I don't actually want to use this certificate, this root certificate stuff. So I'm gonna drop this. That's a block. That is a block, right? Yeah, root certificate, that's a block. That's a block I'm not gonna use. And I'm not gonna use revoke, I'm not gonna use revoke certificate either. I'm gonna go look at there's a particular set of attributes that I want to use AAD configuration here. So address space, and then I guess these aren't in a block. These are just like top level properties on VPN client configuration. And so in this documentation, a lot of the documentation you'll find is going to be oriented towards somebody manually doing this in the portal, which I get it, it sucks. But we can use our human intelligence to translate that into properties on the Terraform resource. So if you're looking at this documentation, and you've got this documentation right next to it, it's like, okay, I need my AAD tenant. There's my AAD tenant. I need my audience. Okay, there's audience. I need my issuer. There's my AAD issuer, right? So you can do that mapping, and you can kind of figure this stuff out, even if the documentation doesn't handle your specific case perfectly. So we need there's an important one in the actual Terraform provider that isn't in the docs, but we need to specify AAD as our VPN auth type. So I'm going to go and add that, and I believe it's an array because you can support multiple VPN auth types, and we need AAD tenant. Oh, look at that. They put them. I'm just going to put some placeholders here. AAD audience, I think that comes next. And then AAD issuer, right? And the tenant looks like the Azure Active Directory login path for the tenant. The audience looks like maybe the application ID, for the Azure VPN, and then the issuer looks like some STS endpoint for Azure AD tenant. So I think we just plug in the tenant ID, and we should be good to go. So I'm gonna go copy pasta those URLs in there. So AAD tenant, it's got this Microsoft Online, and then I'm gonna put in foo, and this will be my tenant ID. And then I'm gonna put in my audience. I don't know what the audience is right now, actually. And then I'm gonna go put in my issuer, and I'm gonna say tenant ID as a placeholder to kind of remind myself. And then I think I need to enable VPN protocols, and we're gonna use OpenVPN. So I'm just gonna say OpenVPN. And we're going to get all this stuff all lined up nice and tight. And then we're going to we're going to do some things. Now, the address space has to kind of make sense as well. So if we look at our network, we're in the 10.0. Well, it's it's 10.0.0.0/16. So technically, like, this is in that. This is this namespace is within that as well. So I guess that would work. And if we put it someplace else, yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna put it in 3. What am I using? 0 and 1. Yeah. So maybe just to keep it simple, I'm just gonna put it in 2. Okay. So now let me pop over to my portal. Go look for my Azure Active Directory tenant. And here's my tenant ID. I'm gonna slam that in there and then there. And we should be good to know. There's probably better ways to do this. I'll show you maybe that as well. And then back to the setup. One of the things you gotta do is you have to grant admin consent for your organization. So I have to literally go and put this into the browser address bar and sign in as a global admin, which that's what this is. And I have to accept, and okay, I didn't get a multi-factor. That was kind of weird. And so I basically granted permission, for this thing, for the Azure VPN to be an approved application. And so now if I go to my Azure Active Directory and I go to Enterprise Applications, it's telling me that I should see Azure VPN there. And there it is. Yeah. Nice. And there's an application ID and an object ID. And I think that this application ID is probably what I'm going to use for the audience. We will find out. Let's just search on audience. Yeah, so you want the application ID of the Azure VPN Enterprise app. And that would be this one, 41 Bravo 23. 41 Bravo 23. Yeah. And because I'm in Azure Public, it's that. If you're in a different tenant, sovereign, if you're in a sovereign cloud, then you probably know that, and you'll know you'll know that you'll have to go pick the one for your sovereign cloud. So I'm gonna go put that into the audience now that I know that, and I think we should be good to go. Let me just do a little last check here of all the things. No double quotes that aren't necessary. Okay, cool. So let's run the Terraform apply and try and get this rolling, and then maybe we'll download the config and connect to our virtual machine. While it's doing that, I'm just going to go look at my resource group. I should have an EP6 one out here. Yep. RGEP. Yep. And I got my VM. I got my network with the NSG. So all the things that I provisioned last time are still there. Now it wants to set up my virtual network gateway and a PIP. That's no big surprise. And we're adding a subnet for Azure Gateway, right? Gateway subnet. Yep. This is good. So we get a failure. Okay, what happened here? AAD issuer is not valid. Oh, must end. Oh, must end with a slash. Did I make a goof? Did I make a boo-boo? Yeah, I did. I think it just wants me to add a slash to the end here. Let's try that again. Wow, that's really specific. Okay. It really wants a slash at the end. Seems to be off to the races now. Okay. I'm going to let this cook. This, deploying a VPN gateway usually takes a really long time. Oh man, got another error. What is this? Okay. The virtual network gateway's VPN client address pool overlaps with the network's address space. Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah, so my bad. The network address space needs to be outside of the range of my VNet. My bad. So it can't overlap. Otherwise, there would be conflicts. That makes sense. Of course, I don't have a subnet. I didn't have a subnet for that, but the VNet itself is in 10.0.0/16, and so I need this to be outside of that range. So now this address space is in 10.2/16, and we should be good to go. And as I was about to say, provisioning a VPN virtual network gateway takes a really long time. It can take up to 30 minutes. So I'm going to let this cook, and I'll be back to check on it periodically. I'm going to make some tea, heat up some hot water, make some tea, and so you'll probably see me pop in and out of here as this thing gets going. But my wife and I, we try and guess. We take bets on how much we're going to spend at Costco. And so in this situation, I'm going to say this is going to take 27 minutes. We'll see if I'm close without going over. We'll see about that. But anyways, I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, looks like we're done. Let's go check our resource group. Okay, so I've got my virtual network gateway. Let me go. I should be able to go download. So I got my point-to-site configuration. Let me go download the VPN client, and let's try and connect to this thing. So in my downloads, got the zip file, and then that expands into this Azure VPN config. Now I'm going to launch Azure VPN. I'm going to import a new connection using that configuration. And the certificate, oh man, what is the certificate? I always forget. And the Mac client, this is so bad. It's just so bad. No, I do want to save that. So I'm just going to pick some random, DigiCert. Let's just pick some random thing. And let me go look at one of my other ones because I always forget. So DigiCert Global Root CA. Okay. DigiCert Global Root CA. DigiCert Global Root CA. DigiCert Global Root G3. No. Where is it? Oh, and they're not even alphabetized. Like, what is this rubbish? Oh, you can't even see what I'm looking at. This drop down just goes off the radar, man. Now I forgot what it was. DigiCert Global Root CA. Shit. Oh, what was it? DigiCert Global Root CA. Global Root CA. Global Root CA. Global Root CA. Okay. This is embarrassing. DigiCert. I'm gonna have to time lapse this. This is insane. DigiCert Global Root CA. Is that right? DigiCert Global Root CA. DigiCert Global Root CA, that looks right to me. Okay, let's try this. So I need to add this is the tenant that I'm using. It might MFA me here. It's definitely gonna MFA me. Approve. Face detect. Okay. Connecting. Nice. Okay. Let's pull up a terminal here. So let's try and connect using a private network. So I'm connected to the VPN. I didn't edit anything. Okay. Let's go to my, go away. Let's go to my guy. So this is the private IP address, and it's gonna have a different name. So there we go. I think the identity is the same. Parent group, yeah. Where do I set my identity? Identity is this guy who's admin user, and I'm using the SSH key, so it should be the same. So let's try. Oh. And here we are. We're in. I'm on this this virtual machine, and I'm connected to it using the private VPN that I just set up, and I'm connected through Azure, the Azure VPN client. You can go download this. The documentation, shows you where to go download the client, the VPN client from. And yeah, it's as simple as that. You just enable this application, and you configure your VPN client configuration using your Azure AD tenant and the Azure VPN application ID or client ID, and you'll be able to connect your local machine to your virtual network out in Azure. It's that simple. Cool. Well, that's it for today. We're going to be changing gears a little bit. We've been doing some of the foundational work in terms of setting up networking and virtual machine connectivity. I'm going to change gears a little bit and move a little bit more into DevOps practices, leveraging pipelining tools like Azure DevOps and GitHub in the next episode. So I hope you like that. Also, please leave comments, reach out to me, let me know, what you'd like to see. If there's specific topics you'd like me to go over or do demos on, I'm definitely open to feedback. And would love to hear what you have to say. So with that, until next time, keep on doing the Terraform and keep on enjoying your time with Azure. All right, guys, thanks a lot. See you.